but Billy's here. We talked about the idea of trading Marchand. I know the team is hesitant to do it, but it does seem with the lack of team, it just in theory, just by logic, I don't know if this is true or not, obviously, but it's a seller's market, certainly.
More so because of the gaggle of teams that are still in playoff race. Detroit, Columbus, Ottawa. The Rangers win last night. The Bruins get a point. So they're all within 2 points of each other, except Detroit is at 66 points. They won again. So I think now I don't think Montreal, Philly, and the Islanders, Freddie, are really in it anymore. But you still have a group of 5 teams that are around it. Now, and over in the West, you still have, I think you got 4 teams that are around it. So it might whittle down. Let's see what happens the next couple games, not just for the Bees, but for other teams too. But yeah, it feels like it's a little more of a seller's.
Yeah, well, I mean, with the injuries of McAvoy and
Lindholm,
the Bruins aren't making the playoffs. I mean,
it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
you're
look,
right.
the bill has come due. It's been put off for a really long time, and they have to move pieces. Okay, I'll ask you a hypothetical. Would you rather trade Marchand with his expiring contract, or a contracted player that you think has a decent future with this team? I know you're hesitant to say names. Let's say like not McAvoy defenseman that you could get a big.
You're not going to trade. You're not going to trade McAvoy. You're not going to trade Poss. You're not going to trade Swayman.
Yes.
So, but I think everybody else is open to discussion.
Okay,
listening.
But my question is this: like,
I mean, again, Fred, hypothetically, if you're going to get a bigger return, perhaps for somebody with a little bit of term left on their contract, I'm leaning that way. Because I think you can get help for the now and for the future. I do. I think you might get a bigger return. I think that. I'm curious to see how long it takes until we had a bevy of a few, remember about 3 weeks ago now?
Big trade.
3 trades, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, and not to get tangent too much here, but the Mikko Rantanen trade that we all thought was going to be enormous, like Carolina, Colorado and all that. Oh my God, that's not going too well. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Carolina flipped him before the deadline again.
Oh, wow.
They haven't signed him. And the rumor is that they offered him, but he's no. And now you've got 9 days before. And if you're not going to re-sign him, what are you going to do? So regardless of that, I think that, I mean, listen, I'm all for everybody, everything being open for Don Sweeney. And I think it is. I think he's open to a lot of things. He talked about it on the air again last night, just paraphrasing, he's going to be, his phones are going to be open.
But you value Marchand as such an important piece that
I do, that I want to make sure that is a major big time bonus move for the Bruins before I do that move. That's just how I feel.
Do you think they owe him anything loyalty wise?
I think that there's part of it. I think there's discussion that goes into it. Absolutely, there's a lot of respect. He's an icon of your franchise. He is He's your leader. He's obviously your captain. He's going down. He's going to go down as one of his generation's greats. Absolutely, there should be some loyalty to him and discussion. Again, my take that there should be.
Are there players?
That's an unpopular notion, by the way. When it comes to, you're talking about doing what's best for the team and whether something could be done right now in order to help them, even for a couple few years. Like, do you really have to have the players' personal interests in mind? No, you don't have to. Is it the right thing to do? I think it is too.
I would think it is. I would think that you have discussion, you have honest. Brad's a smart guy. He's a really bright guy, and he gets it, and he knows what it means to be a Bruin. We've talked to him about it. We've talked about it on your show, and I think that he's given this franchise a ton, and therefore I think they would give him the respect that he deserves.
Okay, so you're not trading Swayman, Pasternak, or McAvoy, obviously. Who besides Marchand, who we discussed, in Frederick and Geeky, who are all restricted or upcoming free agents, is there anyone that you cover the league as a whole? Is there anyone on the Bruins that you think other teams would really, really want?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. And again, lame answer, depending on the fit, not even the deal, just with regard to meaning positionally. They've got, I mean, you can.
Like, would people want, well, Hampus Lindholm's out for the season, but would people want Carlo? Like, would you get a big return for Carlo?
Yes, I do.
Their team is
and he
so
has
bad.
term.
Young defenseman with term that is a legit top 4 guy.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. And, again, it's when I say I don't like throwing out names, it's only because this is also, I know it's part of the business, but it's also, like, these are people with kids and this and that.
And you're
everything.
around them,
but
and
that's okay. I mean, it's more than that. Yes, being around them is something, but on the other hand, you know what? It's also just out of respect. But I
don't think this is a disrespectful conversation, though. I'm just asking if they'd have value.
Yes, they would. They would.
And Coyle, do you think Coyle would have? I'm just going to go. I'll say the names.
Yes, I think.
Do you think
I
Coyle
think
would have
Zaka would.
value?
Coyle would. Korpisalo would. Geeky does. I mean, Geeky's having a career year. Absolutely. The value, though, is going to be perceived by the team that wants to bring him in to say, hey, I want to use this guy I need him for this third line position. And maybe he's playing a different spot with the Bruins, Fred. But, if I put him into this spot, look at the depth that my team has. I do think, especially given that these guys have term. Absolutely. That carries more.
I think that the organization owes it to the fan base to start moving pieces this year. Because that's, as you know,
I would
Billy,
be very surprised if they don't.
That's a dead crowd in there. The interest on the Bruins is as low as it's been since 2006, in my opinion. It's almost a disservice to the organization not to make moves at the deadline. And
I can't see them not making some moves, Fred.
Yeah, but not like little. But
you might not. But you may have to make moves now that allow you then to do other moves.
Sure.
Come off season.
Sure.
So while I completely understand your desire to see moves, I don't see 8 moves happening. Right now. But could I see 2 good moves and then some other moves in the offseason based on expiring contracts, or now you go to teams that have done other things that have cap space, and again, cap's going up significantly in the offseason. So that will be something as well. I would be very surprised that the Bruins don't make a couple of what we would call solid to decent-sized moves between now and the offseason.
Yeah, they have to. Well, yeah, they have to shake things up, and you would agree with that. I mean, things have to get shaken up.
They're going to make some moves.
Yeah, and because if you just sit or you screw around and you don't get uncomfortable, like you don't make things uncomfortable, you're gonna lose your fan base, because then you're just gonna become this stagnant bastion of mediocrity that has 3 really good pieces, and then everything else is just like fine. And then you're gonna draft a kid, the 17-year-old kid, this year, and then you're gonna wait around for 5 years for him to develop. I mean, you gotta shake things up. That building's dead.
I didn't think it was dead last night. Did you?
Well, the Toronto fans were loud.
I thought the Bruins fans were loud too. When the building wasn't great, and it's because the Bruins came out with a very poor first period, was the Anaheim game.
Yeah.
And that was disappointing, very disappointing. And while I understand it's off of the Four Nations break, I was very disappointed in that game because of the way the Bruins didn't start the game. You would think that maybe the Marchands, the guys that did play in the event, would be, tired.
Fatigued, yeah.
And mentally, but on the other hand, the other guys just I don't know. They were stuck in third gear at most in that game in the first period. It took them a while to get going.
Yeah, you can only fire so many coaches. Tim, go ahead.
So, Billy, Don went out and made a bunch of boo-boos in the offseason. Some of these players couldn't even be, impact. So why isn't he taking Patra and Lysell and making like a third line, and then combining some of the veteran players up top and finding a possible top 6 forward?
You're talking why isn't he bringing up why isn't he bringing up kids? Is that the question? Basically,
Billy. I mean, it seems like an easy fix. You keep marching out the same lineup night after night, and Marchand year after year can't stand the length of the NHL schedule. it seems to fail every year. Why isn't he using some of these younger players more and get rid of the junk that he got last year? Basically what I'm saying.
I think after maybe not even up to the trade deadline. Let's see if there are any moves made before then. I think you'll see some players coming up, but Lizel's got 9 goals. It's not like he's got 29 goals there. So he talked last night about being merit based. I do think you'll see him back up. If look, he could be involved in a deal. The Merkulov kids had a nice year down there, but it's and Tim, I'm sure knows this. The caller just chimed in here. Such a different game in the American League versus they're going to have to. They're going to have to figure out a way though to restock that cupboard of young players. No question about it, guys. No question at all. I get what Tim is asking. I do think you'll see a few kids come up, but on the other hand, let's see how this thing.
On the other hand, these are not great prospects. I mean, the kids that would be coming up are not going to be great.
Are they going to be
NHL
game
players.
changers? We're going to,
no,
right? And so that's the question. I think I get Tim's question, but on the other hand, it's not like they're the tonic that's going to cure all. Coming up.
Well, I don't even. I mean, how many of these kids that are in Providence are going to end up being NHL players?
And that's the thing. Don Sweeney has shown no ability to draft well. Out of the last 7 drafts, how many players have NHL experience? 5 total, and that includes the 1 game by Fabian Lysell. I mean, the guys he's drafting aren't showing up.
They're going to have to get better. There's no question. No question at that. With regard to bringing guys up, I don't see that. Although, again, let's see what happens because, do they need somebody? Again, we won't know on
need
Frederick.
Bodies.
Yeah. Brazeau was out last night, so he could take 1 spot. Wallstrom, I think, only played 1 shift in the 3rd last night. So they might need somebody if they want to call somebody up for that. So we'll see. But they definitely, they're going to do stuff. They have to do stuff. There's no question that this team has to get better and deeper.
Yeah, this isn't the Red Sox where you're waiting for the kids to come up. The cupboard is bare. And it's not – look, Sweeney drafted poorly, and they made that huge mistake of keeping 3 picks and whiffing on all of them. But the thing is that, he –
They didn't whiff on DeBrusque.
Now, I will back Billy on that. DeBrusque was a decent 20 to 30 goal scorer there for a few years.
Fine. You turned 3 picks into DeBrusque.
Yes. Zboril and Senyshyn were not good.
All right. So whatever. Fine. I won't argue with you with that. All right. So, but the idea is that he built for the now. And, the team was worthy of that. The team was good.
And they had some unfortunate things like the Rick Nash concussion when they traded for him, and that didn't work out. And they did, they got to the final. The 19 deals were really good, the Johansson and the Coyle deals and everything on that team, except they ended up losing in the final, which it still pains to talk about. But you're right. It's, what do they call it? Pay the piper. It's where they're at. But now they can't be. They're going to have to, between now and the draft, they're going to have to be. This is going to sound contradictory, cautiously aggressive, right? Like, okay, just don't blow it up. You don't want to just blow it up. Trust me, folks, you don't want to. That won't be, but you have to make some deals that will be significant as well.
I know. I just the whole cautiously aggressive thing. That's what everybody does. Nobody goes out there and is
well, no, I mean, but you're going to make some moves. I'd like to actually see them get out ahead of it. Maybe help set the market before March 7th of it, because again,
that'd be nice.
So then maybe help do that. And then
see, but in this case, that would qualify as aggressive. Yeah, do something early.
Okay.
Do something.
Fine, but what I'm talking about, cautious, like you're just not throwing everybody out of here. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but that doesn't happen hardly ever.
I mean, they're not going to do that. I mean, and you said there's 3 untradeable players. There's 3 players that are good enough and important enough that they won't be traded, and that's a nucleus.
Well, this time next week. Well, no, we'll be back. It'll be before the deadline, so maybe we'll have some.
Yeah,
deals
hopefully.
to talk about.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist.